One reason I am so passionate about applying retrieval practice exercises in our classrooms is because there is so much research demonstrating that it really does improve long-term learning for students of all ages. So this simple act of pulling information out of what we know out of our heads, as opposed to cramming things in, based on research, improves learning for students all the way from age 6 to college and medical students to older adults. And regardless of ability or private and public schools or even content area, retrieval practice is such a flexible strategy that really works for all learners.
Hello everybody. So Kate gave me the task to come up with the most important key points for teaching and learning from cognitive psychology. And for me, the two pillars in cognitive psychology that help inform teaching and learning would be space practice and retrieval practice. With space practice really being the idea that in order to really learn and understand something, we need to be re-exposed to that information, to the topics and the concepts. So there should be some episode of relearning after students have been exposed to the information initially. And one idea is that if you have the entire study time for a specific concept or topic, what would happen is you take that study time, it's like 4 hours, and instead studying for 4 hours in one cramped block, students would distribute those hours into smaller chunks of 1 hour, for example, only, and do 1 hour, let's say on a Monday, 1 hour on a Wednesday, 1 hour the week after, and 1 hour in a month. And so distribute the study time over time. And it shows that it enhances memory for that information. And in addition to that, it's less stressful because instead of cramming everything in like a huge block of studying, you basically do smaller chunks over time. So, and in regard to retrieval practice, when you sit down to study or when you reteach or want to reactivate something that you have taught your pupils and students before, instead of reteaching it and showing the same slide again to students, it is advisable to have them take a quiz on it. So these restudy episodes basically should be short quizzes that they take over the course of time, where they try to remember information from memory, reproduce that information from memory, and doing so engaging in effective retrieval practice. All right, that's from me. I hope this was helpful. Bye.
Keynote presentation. We're going to look at design guides, how to improve your creations. It comes down to 4 principles: cut, chunk, align, and restrain. Let's go into those one by one. Cut. Here's what I consider to be a typical document: over full, lines are way too long, and a very difficult, ugly typeface or font. Here's my before and after. First thing I've done is I've broken those overlong columns into 2, because did you know that past something like 90 characters, including spaces, reading gets harder? Why would we want to do that? And I've got a lot of space at the top with what's called a stand first, a nice punchy, pithy introduction. Next, chunk, and I start off with the improvement, and here I'll show you how I can make it still better by extracting some of the information, putting it into a box, extracting what lies within it and taking it out, showing a 5-column selection of information rather than a straight bullet pointed list. Align. Here's a typical PowerPoint slide I might find. In the attempt to be artistic, we make it asymmetric, when actually what you want is symmetry, everything to line up neatly. We know from cognitive science we take in information more easily in this particular way. Here is a great example from someone who follows me on Twitter, and a really wonderful slide. Look, all the space at the top, you can read everything, it's aligned, it's neat, it's It's marvellous. And here's how to do it. Here is one of my slides with a background grid. The grid is a secret of professional graphic artists they never tell you about. So that's what I use to organise my work. And here's what it looks like when you see it. You can't see the grid, but you can clearly see all the alignment. And lastly, I've taken this from Twitter, typical sort of offering from a teacher. I do apologise, I'm going to be rather cruel about it. It's absolutely awful. Here's what I consider to be a far more effective alternative. No coloured background, don't put text on colour like that, just don't do it. If you want colour coding, a little graphic mark like that, alignment, space, and there you go. Good luck.